I say outliers keep stepping, I'll keep repping, grow with intentions and keep those outliers keep stepping, I'll keep repping, grow with intentions, keep those projecting. Yeah.
So we're into the final but certainly not least chapter, which is the reasoning.
Reasoning.
Right? How does this differ from the first two?
This one is a lot more sparse.
Okay.
That's one of the main things I say about it. Like, it's meant to be there just as a moment of almost like takeaway time. Because first one, polluted mind, there's a lot of different ideas. There's like storylines that you're following from front to end. Outside, again, there's a lot of different voices that come in. There's like collaborations, there's different genres, blah, blah, blah. There's the whole bar scene that you have with Rose Freestyle. And then for reasoning, I wanted it to reflect like some of my more recent experiences and perspectives, I guess, which is the takeaway time for yourself and how like some of the things I may have experienced in polluted mind actually could be for my benefit, whether it's like the isolation factor, where sometimes instead of feeling isolated, flip it to having moments of solitude and solace, which is good. Or you don't have to be outside and amongst loads of people, like you can be on your own, and that's cool as well. So that's kind of where reasoning stems from, why it is what it is and what it's meant to represent when you get there.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. So we've got 4 tracks on the third chapter. So we've got Breathe. And also I noticed in the beginning of Breathe, again, very immersive experience. If you want to listen to it in a dark room with your music up, you definitely feel the impact of the music. And you say, before you proceed, take a moment if you need. What was that?
That comes from, so I'm not like the most avid meditator in terms of sit down, close my eyes and da-da-da-da. I do it occasionally and everything, but I'm very big on moments of stillness. And I'm very big on shifting the energy from one place to another. And just knowing that where you would have been so far in this project, I'm like, yo, we're about to go somewhere completely different. So if you need to, please take a moment, whether it's whilst you listen to this, or if it's like, do you know what, I'm gonna take chapter 3 in separately because I've just been outside, I've been at Liberty, I've been at Rhodes, all of this kind of stuff. But take a moment if you need. It's just being mindful, I guess, that really acknowledging we're about to go somewhere else and just setting up for people as they listen.
Yeah, it's quite spoken wordy, I think, in the first instance. But again, you've got lots of elements that come into it which make it like for a bigger experience than just listening to a track. Do you have a favourite on the third chapter?
It's probably Zen Part 2, you know? And I think one of the reasons is because it sounds a lot like some of the stuff that we do on the app Spoke, innit? And when I explain what we do to other artists, I think the main thing is that we give permission to the listener to engage with the music how they want to, rather than it being like a passive listening experience where it's just music that you're just hearing. This is me requesting, okay, if you want to, you can close your eyes. Also, like, please start to visualize something, like make your brain activate in a certain way as you listen to this. And there's times where I've just put it on as I'm like on the tube, because I'm like, I know I want something to listen to. Just something simple. Okay, cool. This actually serves me because I'm not like following a story or going along with that, which can be dope a lot of the time. I love stories, but like there's certain times where, because of a kind of overactive way of thinking, I just need to like, or be told, just think of this thing and go with that. So yeah, Zen Part 2.
Okay. And is there anything that you do consciously? As you mentioned, some people meditate, some people go to the gym, you know, everyone has their different style. Is there something specifically that you do to, when you're in a moment of overthinking, to kind of bring it back down to stillness? How do you do that?
I go offline, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, like, not like, oh my God, where's Lemzi? I'll never find him again. More just like,
set up the search bar.
Exactly, yeah. But I'm very, like, as I said, I'm big on, I have to just be still for a moment. So I do any and everything, whether it's pray or meditate or write or voice it out, whether it's like calling someone or voice noting or just saying stuff out loud to myself, going for a walk. Like, I try and have tried everything. But I think the things that have always, or for a very long time, stayed with me is moments where it's like, cool, my phone is, I don't know where my phone is, because that's number one, get rid of that. Number two is really tune into myself and then something higher. like doing that. And that's usually the way that I kind of get to a space where I'm like, okay, I'm present again. And I'm also just, I don't know, there might not be a word, but it's just like, it's literally like whatever was there, that thing on my back or in my mind or just carrying in my gut, I can start to eviscerate that a little bit more and then understand it as well. Because sometimes that thing is there not to hinder you, but to remind you, or for me anyways, to remind me like you're doing that thing again, or these are those traits that you said you wanted to get rid of, but it looks like this now kind of thing. So yeah, take those moments where it's just stillness. I try and do that as much as I can.
Yeah, okay, cool. And you're quite a contrast actually. Through experiencing your energy, being in your company, you are very confident, you come across very outgoing, very social. And then when I hear your music, I get quite an introvert kind of vibe. So do you think you're, if you had to pick one, do you think that you're more introvert or more extrovert as a human being?
So I'd say I'm ambivert.
Okay, fine.
Because I think, because I think you're right. Like, there's times in my head where I've been like, I'm such an introvert, but I'm not like having this kind of, I'm cool. I like cameras. If I see cameras on the street, I'm always like, oh, what's going on? This is my good side guy. Like, I'll do that. However, I also know that like, I'm not a full extrovert. Like, I know people like that where they thrive off the energy of other people in order to like be at their best. Whereas me, I'm like, yo, I need to not be amongst so many people. But that's why I'm this ambivert thing in the middle, and I'm very grey area. Okay. I feel like that might, again, when we come into like star signs and things like this, I don't think that a star sign makes up the person, but I feel like people's core characteristics are sort of embedded within their horoscope. So do you think that that's a little bit of the Gemini in you, kind of being a little bit of both? Do you know what? I didn't really care about star signs before. And I don't like give them much focus at the moment. However, being a Gemini and the stuff that people say about Geminis, and when I've looked at my birth chart and it's whatever the description is, I'm like, damn, it's making a bit of sense. This like certain traits and characteristics do make some sense. Like the being quite malleable and adaptable, which can be quite impressionable, but it's very fluid, and it's like there is a sense of confidence, but it's a sense of this other thing sometimes. Like we were saying before, like the whole two-faced thing, but it's literally just duality, really and truly. That's kind of how I see it. And when I think of like other people that are Geminis who are out here doing their thing, it's like I can see it in them as well. Like Tupac was such a good example of that. Like, for real, and we have the same birthday. But it's like, really? That's my G, man. That's my G. But that's my G. No, but like that, I do see some truth in it occasionally, in it where I'm like, damn, like, that sounds right. Like that's accurate.
Okay, cool. I find it really interesting, like how we have our own perception of ourselves versus what our close friends and family may say about us. So if I can ask you, what would your friends or family say is like one of the most unique things about you?
I would say possibly, anyway, I would say my drive.
Okay.
Like, I think my dad even mentioned this to me the other day, where he's just like, I know that you're always doing something. Like, no matter what, even if you're not here or you're doing something, you're very rarely taking respite. Not in a way where it's like you don't chill out ever, but in a way of, even when you're resting, you're doing something. Like, it's very active rest kind of thing, innit? And I think a lot of people would say that. Like, I've always been quite driven to try and accomplish something. Like, there's an objective or end destination that a lot of the time I'm trying to get towards. So yeah, I think that.
Okay, cool. Over the course of the interview, it's quite interesting actually, because over the course of the interview, you've been quite open in that some of the tracks you've written in like an hour, and some of them were just freestyles and things like this. What is your creative process like on a general?
I like to be inspired. I think that's what it is. I think I usually will hear music now, or I'll have a melody, like say I'm from showering, I'm just singing. I don't sing, but when I'm in the shower, I'll sing.
What are you singing in the shower?
That's when I'll sing some random ass melody that doesn't exist. It's not a real thing, but sometimes I'll voice note it to myself, and that's where I begin something. But other times, literally, I might hear great music, and then that to me is a conversation all of a sudden, where it's like, cool, I've heard this is what I'm going to say back. So I've always been decent at freestyling. I used to be better than I am now. But because of that, I can respond to sounds with words fairly well kind of thing in it. So yeah, just get me inspired and then I'm good to go kind of thing.
Just inspire him, and it's all over. Okay, cool. And I feel like a lot of people are going to hone in on, I want to say the message, but I feel like this project, this collective project, is kind of open to interpretation. If there was one bit of advice that you could give your fans and your supporters, what would it be?
It's the very last thing that's said on the project, and that is, nature does not hurry, yet all things are accomplished. That phrase, I actually think I saw that on YouTube or something. I can't remember.
A bit emotional.
Yeah. As soon as I saw it, because it kind of goes into those 3 words that I said in the first chapter of patience, simplify, effort, where it's like, these things, nature, all around, these things are going to happen. They're like, it's a part of our fabric of like, we were going to have this conversation, whether we knew it or not, we were going to have this convo. We were going to have this. And I was always caught up on, I need to determine when all of these things will happen. I need to say when I am going to headline O2, otherwise it doesn't really exist kind of thing. But if it is something that's written, it's going to happen. Like, patience, simplify your way of trying to get there, and then put in as much effort as you can to just to follow what nature is telling you kind of thing, innit? So yeah, that would be my thing. Nature does not hurry, yet all things are accomplished.
Yeah, I think the message across the board is patience, and nothing happens before its time. And when it does, it kind of makes me think of like the whole slingshot theory or the arrow theory, and that you can be ready for something, but you may feel stagnant for a moment. Only when it's the right time will you then be released and propelled into your greatness. Do you feel like 2023 is are you on the fly, or are you still kind of ready to excel?
I'm on the fly, man. I said it at the end of Word Vomit 3. This year I'm going to change my whole life. Like, that's my ambition. And I think maybe previously I would have said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But now it's like, I just have a strong sense of, I can do this. And because I know I can do this, I'm trying to change like just aspects of my life, innit? Yeah, we're there, man. Like, we're there. So that's how it's looking for me, man. 2023. I'm excited.
I love that. I'm excited for you as well. And everything, of course, is seasonal. Do you have a favourite season?
Summer. Okay. Oh, no, do you know what? End of spring, early summer. So that May and June. I love those 2 months in particular. Really? My birthday's in June, so that's one reason. But also just because it's like, life is there, like you can see it. As soon as you go outside and you see green, it's different green. And there's other colours because spring is proper in fruition. And then the heat, the last few years, May and June have just been banging. So it's nice. So yeah, that's my favourite time.
Okay, cool, I'm not too far from you on that one. Summer definitely feels good. I feel like we should respect the winter and the autumn though, because as with nature, as you said, the trees, the plants, they lose their leaves. We plant new seeds for the next season, and definitely, do you feel like you've had a good planting season?
Yeah, I think mine was end of last year. I was doing so much groundwork, which is why I'm in this point of like, I'm releasing music as frequently as I am, because it's like, I've been in the studio, like I've been making stuff, I've been late night sessions, all that, which hasn't stopped to be fair, but like, yeah, the planting, it continues forever, like, well, not forever, but it continues as long as we want to do it. But that season of the Outliers foundation, that's done. That's why we're in Outliers. We're outside. We're here, kind of thing. Yeah, we're here. So yeah, we still move.
We're certainly making an impression. I love the project. I'm really excited for the rest of the world to catch on. As you mentioned before, it is available for people to purchase. And I'm sure that you'll be giving them all of the information, flooding it everywhere. But the first chapter is available on sort of your general streaming. Your general streaming, which we love. The whole build-up. Can you build it?
No, I'm not a smoker. I will do this and crumble on the ground and people will be upset with me, so I don't touch it.
Don't waste it. Okay, cool. And again, sort of just honing in on how articulate you are. I know that you're very intelligent as a person, and wordplay is definitely something that I hear you flirt with a lot. Has there been a significant bit of advice that you've been given along your career in the music industry that you have really held on to?
I think probably, I think the main thing is going from being a lyricist and saying all of this literal word vomit a lot of the time to how do you construct that into like a song, basically, and not compromising or losing that aspect of myself, but developing it into this. So simplify. Like simplify. It doesn't need as much as that. Like we can take like that has helped me a lot in terms of making songs.
Yeah, oh, I love that. Okay, cool. And again, another theme that I feel kind of flows throughout the entire 3 projects is finding your inner peace.
100%.
Do you feel like you're in a place of peace at the moment?
I am, you know.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. I love that for you. It's like,
Thank you. No, I am. Like, there will be I don't know, I will do something that will disrupt my peace.
Okay.
Just because.
Self-inflicted.
Yeah, and not in a way of like, this is too peaceful, I don't like it, but in a way of, okay, it's time to shake the tree because there's more fruits that need to come down because we've outgrown this size of, or this season kind of thing. So at some point, I'll be shaking the tree. I won't have drama, hopefully.
Okay, no,
it's not drama, but it's just
You're
like.
way too zen for all of that anyway.
But hopefully it's just like excitement, and you can't have one without the other. So it will be excitement plus nerves or anxiety, but like it's building to something again. Like that's where I really want to be getting to again.
So if there was anyone that you could collaborate with, I feel like I'm definitely going to ask you about what's coming up, but is there anyone UK-based that you've got your eyes on or that you particularly like the sound of their music that you'd love to collab with?
I've been rinsing this girl called Daya Soul's tune.
Okay.
And same way I said I like to be inspired,
Yeah.
she has a song called Rabbit Hole.
Okay.
On the day that I heard it, like on Spotify and everything, I previously heard it, but on the day that I actually had access to it, I was just rinsing it and I wrote a verse to it. I was like, yo, I want to do a remix. Like, I just
that's so cool.
like, that's how quickly I can be incentivized to like try and make something happen. Whether it does happen or not is a whole different thing, but she's a very, very dope singer, a very, very dope artist. So I'd love to do something with her. I'd love to do something with Little Sims. I'd love to do something with the Gorillas, which is kind of random, but I think
If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
I think they would make me go places I've not been before creatively.
Okay,
So that's why I like to do that, innit?
Quite literally down a rabbit hole.
There we go, innit? Yeah.
Quite literally down a rabbit hole.
Word eyes, you know. We need to get you in the studio, I'm telling you.
On the sly. No. I mean, overall, obviously, Outliers, a creative project by Lemzi himself. What's coming up? What can we look forward to? Besides this, because this is very, very juicy, this is definitely something I'm going to encourage everyone to listen to. It was certainly the immersive experience that you sort of like built us up to expect throughout the project. What can we expect? Are you going to sort of go down the project route a bit more? Will it be more spoken word, a bit more R&B? You never know.
I wish. I wish. I feel like I want to try and do a lot because what the CP is half audiobook, half album, or probably a little bit more album towards audiobook. But I want to make an audiobook. I want to make some spoken word stuff. I want to go and make a really dope album as well. But throughout this year, it'll probably just be some more Lucy's, hopefully some good performances. I want to get out performing again. And I'll probably wrap up the year, and this is, inshallah, God willing, with another small project, whether it's an EP or whatever. But I just want to stay creative. I think because I spent a few years not being that, it's like I want to get back into that mode where it feels normal, like just performing and creating and collabing and stuff like that. So yeah.
And can we expect any visuals for
100%.
the projects? We can.
Yeah,
This is exciting. Good.
Shout out Leo here, man. We've been working on Chapter 1 synopsis. So instead of it being individual music videos, it's going to be like a synopsis of the whole of Chapter 1.
Loop everything in together.
Yeah, we're going to try and make it make sense, innit? That's the plan.
Cool. No, I really like that. I find your creativity is a bit different to people that I may have spoken to before. And that makes you definitely very unique in your field for sure. I mean, I think we've got everything. I feel like we've got everything. I'm super excited. Do you know what I like? I do have to say before we finish up that it's not just quantity that I find. You really do. Quality is very important to you as far as what you're putting out and stuff like that, right? 100%. Historically across your catalogue from when you first started making music. What do you think, as far as like the entertainment/music industry now, do you feel that there's anything lacking, or is there anything that's changed for the better? What's your kind of view on it right now?
I don't think it's lacking, you know. No, I think the thing that lacks is quality control across the board and also just diversification. Like, I think we're so quick to follow one thing and then we hold on to that and say, we'll uphold it and say, this is the sound, this is what we're going with. And if it's not that, you're just overhearing some random bubble of alternative or R&B, which is very normal, but it doesn't get respect in the UK. So like, quality-wise, the levels are super high. I hear amazing music almost every day, which I'm always like, It's just the competition. Like,
Yeah.
But I just think the standards, or whoever sets the standards, or the standards that are generally upheld, that's the stuff that needs to just be checked, because there's not enough of a doorway for a lot of different types of artists. So even for myself, making a creative project, I know that this isn't necessarily something that, if you're looking for this thing fits in this box, it's going to be very difficult for you. It's going to be a difficult listen. But at the same time, I want to challenge people, not to the point where it's like, what the hell am I listening to? But just like, I understand this and I know this, but actually this thing exists as well. So let me add that, rather than feeling like that's taken away from my understanding. So yeah, man, it's best stuff.
So, okay. Well, yeah, throughout the entire project, chapters 1, 2, and 3, you've been pretty consistent with a message of calm and clarity and resolution, being self-aware, things like that. Some fantastic quotes. Do you have anything to leave the viewers with today as far as the collective?
It's not an album, it's not a mixtape, it's not an EP, it's not a playlist, it's a CP. That's the only thing to leave you with, the fact that it's none of those, it's his own body of work. Like, that's it.
And it's a beautiful body of work. Congratulations.
No, thank you very much, man. This has been fun as
This
well.
has been
I've
so
really
much
enjoyed
fun.
it. Like,
I'm really glad. No, thank you so much
no,
for taking the time.
are we
to come
shaking?
in.
This is
Are we
very
shaking?
professional. Like,
We're not shaking hands. We're not doing all of that.
We're doing real love. This is real love, guys. Like, that was too professional.
It felt a little bit formal for me, you know, seeming that you dressed the same as me today. It's like, you know.
Earlier, like, what are we wearing?
No, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for blessing us with this beautiful piece of art, because that's what we're calling it. I feel like everyone is going to connect and resonate with different parts, different tracks and things like that. So I feel like you've really covered your basis. And I'm super excited to see what 2023 holds for you.
Thank you, man. I'm super excited.
Amazing.
As well. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Lemzi.